Your greatest strength is not a strength. Your empathy is not a gift. To a predator, they're a homing beacon, painting a target on your back that 99% of people will never have. Think about that for a second. The very quality that makes you a good person is the exact same quality that makes you a perfect victim. And in this video, I am going to show you exactly how this psychological targeting system works. This isn't theory. This isn't vague advice. We are going to break down the specific, observable traits that manipulators hunt for, how they weaponize your own kindness against you, and how you can become invisible to them, starting today. You will learn why you might be attracting the wrong people, and it has nothing to do with bad luck. It is a science. Chapter 1: The Empathy Trap. Look, you've been there. You meet someone new, maybe at work, maybe through a friend, and they seem great. But there's a story. There's always a story. A difficult childhood, a toxic ex, a boss who just doesn't get them. And you feel it, that pull, that deep instinctual need to help, to understand, to soothe. You listen for hours. You offer advice. You cover a shift for them at work. You lend them $20. You become their rock. You feel good about it. You feel like you're being a good friend, a good partner, a good human being. What you don't realize is that you just failed a test. You've been scanned, identified, and selected. This isn't an accident. Highly empathetic people are prime targets. But it's not just any kind of empathy. The psychologist Simon Baron-Cohen, in his research at Cambridge University, outlines two core types of empathy. First, there's cognitive empathy. That's the ability to understand another person's perspective, to predict their behavior, to see the world through their eyes. It's an intellectual skill. Manipulators, narcissists, psychopaths, they are often masters of cognitive empathy. They can read you like a book. But then there's affective empathy. This is the one that gets you into trouble. Affective empathy is feeling another person's emotions as your own. When they are in distress, you feel a genuine pang of distress. When they are anxious, you feel that anxiety in your own chest. It's an emotional, visceral response. It's what drives you to help, to fix, to rescue. And for a predator, a person with high affective empathy is like a lighthouse in a storm. They see you from a mile away. They tell their sob story not just to get sympathy, but as a form of sonar. They are pinging a signal into the social environment, and they are waiting. Who responds? Who leans in with a concerned look? Who offers help without being asked? Who feels that immediate, gut-level urge to fix their pain? Boom, target acquired. They've just found someone who will carry their emotional baggage for them, someone who will excuse their bad behavior because they understand their pain, someone who will pour endless energy into a bottomless pit, all because of a natural, beautiful instinct to care. They have found you. So, here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. What if that powerful pull you feel to help isn't your compassion, but a trigger they've just intentionally pulled? Chapter 2: Identifying Target Vulnerability. This is where it gets dark, because this isn't random. It is a cold, calculated three-step process. The energy is high here because you need to feel the raw mechanics of this. You need to see the blueprint so you can recognize it in your own life. Step 1 is the empathy test, which we just covered. They throw out the bait, a story of victimhood, a hint of crisis, and they watch for who bites, who feels for them. That's the initial screening process. But step 2 is where the true manipulation begins. It's called the mirroring. Once they've identified you as a high empathy target, their next job is to become you. A manipulator will absorb your personality, your hopes, your fears, your values. They become the most incredible listener you've ever met. You love hiking? Suddenly, they've always wanted to explore the mountains. You have a passion for animal rescue? They tear up talking about a stray dog they once saw. This is a tactic documented extensively in studies on what psychologists call the dark triad personalities: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Researchers like Delroy Polhas and Kevin Williams found that individuals with these traits have a profound ability to mimic emotions and values they do not possess. It's not a real connection, it's camouflage. They are creating a perfectly tailored mask designed for one person and one person only: you. They create this intense, intoxicating bond where you feel, for the first time, truly and completely understood. Sound familiar? You think you've found a soulmate. What you've actually found is a reflection. And the purpose of that reflection is to lower your defenses for the final, brutal step. Step 3. Weaponization. This is the moment they turn your greatest strength into their most powerful weapon. Once that bond of trust is forged, they begin to leverage your empathy against you. This happens in two primary ways. First, through guilt. Because you feel their emotions, they can make you feel responsible for them. The classic line, "I thought you were different. I thought you cared about me." That sentence is designed to trigger your effective empathy. You feel a jolt of their supposed disappointment and pain, and your instinct is to fix it, to prove you do care. So you do what they want. You apologize for something you didn't do. You cross a boundary you set. The second method is by weaponizing your need for validation. Many empathetic people are also people pleasers. Your sense of self-worth is tied to being good, helpful, and kind. The manipulator knows this. They will give you praise and validation when you comply and withdraw it the second you don't. At work, it's the boss who says, "You're the only one I can count on. You're a lifesaver," right before asking you to work another weekend. In a relationship, it's the partner who calls you their everything, their savior, but only when you're catering to their needs. Your goodness becomes a lever they pull to control your behavior. Stop. What you call a relationship, they call a system of control. What you call love, they call leverage. They found you because you care. They control you by making you care about their needs more than your own. And they keep you trapped by making you believe that their happiness is your responsibility. It is the perfect, inescapable prison, and its walls are built with your own kindness. Chapter 3. Breaking the cycle of selection. So how do you break free? How do you stop being selected? You don't become cold. You don't kill your empathy. You become wise. You upgrade your emotional operating system with a firewall. Here are 3 specific techniques you can start using today. First, the 90-day observation period. Manipulators thrive on speed. They create intense, whirlwind connections because their mask cannot hold up under long-term scrutiny. Your defense is to slow everything down. For any new significant person in your life, a friend, a partner, a close colleague, you implement a mental 90-day observation period. During these 90 days, you do not become their therapist. You do not lend them money. You do not make major commitments. Your job is not to fix them. Your job is to collect data. And the most important rule is this: you listen to their words, but you only trust their actions. They say they're ambitious. Do they apply for jobs or just complain about their old one? They say they value honesty. Do you see them being honest in small moments? After 90 days of observation, their patterns will be crystal clear. Predators cannot fake consistency. Second, the empathy shift. This is the most powerful tool you have. You must learn to consciously shift from affective empathy, feeling their pain, to cognitive empathy, understanding it. When someone comes to you with a problem, you resist the urge to dive into the emotion with them. Instead, you stay on the outside and ask diagnostic, solution-oriented questions. For example, your friend is complaining about their money problems again. The old you would say, "Oh, that's terrible. I feel so bad for you. How can I help?" The new you says, "That sounds really stressful. What's your plan for tackling that?" See the difference? You are not being cold. You are being clinical. This question does 2 things. It validates their feeling without taking it on as your own, and it puts the responsibility for solving the problem back on them. A healthy person will appreciate this and start brainstorming. A manipulator will be frustrated. They didn't want a solution. They wanted a resource. They wanted you to fix it. What you call friendship, some people call a resource. This technique reveals who is who. Third, the clean no. Empathetic people are terrified of saying no, and when they do, they soften it with a long explanation. "I'm so sorry, I can't, because I have this other thing, and I feel really bad about it, but maybe another time." Stop. That explanation is a sign of weakness. To a manipulator, a justification is not a reason, it's an invitation to negotiate. They will dismantle your excuse piece by piece until you give in. The psychologist Manuel J. Smith, in his work on assertiveness, called this out decades ago. The defense is the clean no. No explanation, no apology, just no, I can't do that, or that doesn't work for me. The first time you do it, it will feel brutal. You will feel a wave of guilt. That guilt is the manipulator's programming. Let it pass. Hold the line. A respectful person will accept your no. A manipulator will reveal their true colors by pushing against it. Their anger is your confirmation that you did the right thing. This isn't about building walls. It's about building a gate, and you are the only one with the key. You are no longer a victim of your own empathy. You have to understand this. For your entire life, you may have seen your kindness as something that just happened, a passive trait. You felt used, you felt drained, and you thought it was just bad luck. You thought, why do I always attract these people? That ends now. Those experiences were not a reflection of your weakness. They were a reflection of your immense emotional strength being used without your permission. But now, you have permission. You have knowledge. You see the world differently. You no longer walk into a room and see just people. You see signals. You see strategies. You can feel the difference between a genuine request for connection and a predatory scan for a resource. This knowledge doesn't make you cynical. It makes you safe. It transforms you from someone who is chosen into someone who chooses. You get to decide who is worthy of your incredible gift of empathy. You get to direct your energy toward people who will cherish it, not consume it. You are no longer just a character in someone else's story. You are the author of your own. The ignorant suffer it. The informed choose. Subscribe, not because I'm asking you to, but because this knowledge is a responsibility. What you just learned is the defensive half of the equation. It's only the beginning. Next week, we are going to explore the offensive side. We are dissecting the technique of love bombing. We will break down the exact neurochemical cocktail of dopamine and oxytocin that manipulators use to create a literal addiction to them in the first 96 hours of meeting you. You think it's a feeling, it's a formula, and you need to know how it works. Subscribe, and I'll see you then.